at Monroe High School? I'm Maya Kasperzak, and Election Day is right around the corner, so to help out new voters, new people turning 18, we have these two lovely ladies helping us out today.
Hi, I'm Michelle Lavoie. I am the city clerk for the city of Monroe, and I am spending most of my time right now getting the city ready for Election Day, November 3rd.
Hi, I'm Councilwoman Kelly Bynum. I represent the 3rd Precinct in the city of Monroe, and I also help facilitate the elections here at the Navarre Branch Library, which is the 3 South polling district.
So what happens is on Election Day, voters will come in here and there will be a bench where they'll sign their name and they will get their ID out, and that's their application to vote. And everyone who comes into the precinct has to sign it. If you don't have your voter ID or if you don't have your driver's license, you can still vote. You just have to sign the back of it, which is an affidavit swearing to the fact that you are who you say you are and that you forgot your driver's license. And then you end up getting in line, and there's a table. Every precinct's set up a little different, but there's a table. It's usually about here in this particular location, and there's a computer. And what happens is your driver's license is swiped, and they don't save any of the information. We don't save any of the information that is on it or anything like that. It just pulls up the voter record, your voter record, and that is where the election inspector sees who you are, compares your name on your license to the record, and then makes sure that you haven't already voted absentee. As long as you haven't voted absentee, then they will issue you a ballot, the next ballot from the top of the stack.
Normally we walk right over and we'll have our voting booth lined up against the walls here. We're gonna have a lot more this election because it's anticipated to be a very large election. We usually have about 4 machines. So how many do you think is
So we have voting booths, and we set up, every precinct is different. I'm the clerk in the city, and so what I do is I look at how many voters are in each precinct. And so 3 South is a little bit smaller, so there's usually like 5 or so.
Mm-hmm.
This election, we'll probably have 8 to 10. And people, what they do is they go into those voting booths, and that's where you make your selections, fill in the circles, and you can't see it on this sheet, but after each name there'll be a bubble, we call it, a little circle. You have to darken that as much as you can, just like on a standardized test, like on an ACT or SAT or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And then once you're finished, you put it back in the secrecy sleeve, because the most important thing is one of the most important things is maintaining your privacy. So you put it back in the secrecy sleeve, and then you will move over to what we call the tabulator. But the tabulator is a machine that you take the ballot up to. The person who is the election inspector at the tabulator will look at your application to vote, and they'll look at the number and make sure that they match so that you have the same ballot as was issued to you. Then once they confirm that, they'll take the tab off of the top of the ballot, and they will step back, because you, the voter, have to put it in the machine. And you feed it into the machine, kind of like a dollar bill going into a vending machine. They still have those. Mm-hmm. And then it goes into the tabulator. The tabulator takes a minute to scan it, reads the ballot, and then it will give you a message, and it will either tell you that it's okay, and it will take the ballot, which is called casting the ballot, or it will reject it, and it'll give you a reason why it rejected it. Maybe you voted for too many people in one race, or you missed a few, and so it wants you to know that you missed some. If you say that's fine, you push the button and it takes it anyway. And if you say no, I want to do it again, you just take it out, put it in the secrecy sleeve, and go back to one of the voting booths.
So on the ballot, in each section, there'll be instructions. So sometimes it'll let you know, do not vote for more than 2, or it'll give you a specific number of people you can vote for in the same category. Also, always look on the back of the ballot. Sometimes there's questions on the back of the ballot. We don't want to miss those. And then we have several proposal questions. So you want to make sure you read those over completely, because sometimes those questions can be, they sound more like trick questions, I call them. Sometimes
there are 4 city proposals if you vote in the city, and then there's a couple of there's a couple of state ones, and then there's also 1 or 2 for the county. And Miss Kelly brings up a good point. If you you want to make sure you try to read about that ahead of time too, because when you come here, no one who's working the election can give you advice about how to vote. So we will have the ballot language here, but it won't, be any different than what you see on the ballot. So you want to make sure you study up on that ahead of time, so that you know what you're voting on.
But what I like to always encourage the clerk's office is to make sure we have a sample ballot out somewhere where the people can read over it if they haven't done their research, which you should have already done your research by the time you reach the polls. But if you haven't, it'll usually be taped to the desk there or on the front door where you can look at the ballot and get a better understanding before you get to the ballot box.
We get the I voted sticker. That's to some people the most important thing. So after you vote, you'll get your I voted sticker, and then you'll be all set.
I see a lot of first-time voters, young people who are voting for the first time. They may not understand the process. So what does the state say about people who want to bring someone to the polls to help them vote? Maybe a first-time voter or a disabled person.
Well, you can bring someone with you to the precinct. If you need some assistance, we have a voter assist terminal which they can use to it reads the ballot to you. So those are some of the things that we've done. But you could also have someone come into the voting booth with you if you need that assistance as well. You can register to vote up through 8 o'clock on election day, but you have to do that at the clerk's office. So from now until about October 18th, you can register, at Secretary of State or online. After that, beginning October 19th, I believe it is, you have to come to the clerk's office to register to vote. But up till 8 o'clock on election day. And if you come to register to vote on election day and it's getting close to 8 o'clock, we would be willing and able to issue you an absentee ballot, and you can vote it right there, and it would go to the absentee counting board. But we will be sanitizing and wiping everything down, and after each voter, every voting booth will be wiped off, and we'll have everybody will get their own pen. We won't be reusing pens, and we'll have the 6 feet social distancing marks as well on the floor. And we may get to a point that if it gets really cramped in here, and I'll be working with the library to see how many people they feel comfortable allowing in here. We may have to have some folks wait outside until it's okay to come in, because we don't want to violate any of those laws. Like Ms. Kelly said, everyone gets to vote who comes to the precinct who's registered and brings some kind of ID. But like I said, we have other ways of helping them as well if they forget it.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.